Hey, Darren. So
Hi,
I'm a
Sarah.
gardener, and I just got this job. Um, a building manager asked, I'm sorry, to start this correctly. A year ago at a new building I'm the gardener at, I noticed that their 40, 45-foot tall spruce tree, which they decorate for Christmas with lights and a big star on top, it was not decorated very well. The top 2/3 of the tree were one kind of lights, and then the bottom third was a completely different set of lights. So it just can't, it doesn't work. It's got to be, it's got to be the same lights evenly and correctly around it so it looks good. And I commented to the building manager that, ooh, that's not really great. And she knew it wasn't right, but they were stuck with it that year. And she asked me, would I be willing to do it the next year, which is this year? And I said, yeah, sure, I could try. I could try. So this year, I'm the one who did it, and it was way harder than I thought. And back in the day, Jesus, 30 years ago when I worked for this other gardener, we would do 20, 25-foot, maybe 30-foot Christmas trees indoors in lobbies with big A-frame ladders and, 3, 4, 5 guys helping, the lights, the ornaments, even we might have like wrapped boxes under the tree. This was just lights and the star on top of the tree.
Okay.
So it's me, one helper, and then someone from the building helped us also. So you've got to string lights together, and then when you attach 2 lights together, you've got to use electrical tape and lock them together, and then lock the water out. So when it's outside and it could rain, you don't want the rain to short out the connection. So there's stuff to do, even if you're not the one on the tree putting the lights on.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a YouTube video of how to do this because, everything is on YouTube now. So I wanted to see what's the professional way to do it. And I saw people had long poles with a hook at the end, and you could scoop up a string of lights and then reach the top of the tree, and you could, on the ground, you go around the tree with the lights, and you could get that effective spiral around the tree, and you could get it to be perfect. Mm-hmm. So I had an extension pole pruner tool made in Japan, I might say. It's an excellent company, ARS, a pole pruner extendo thing. And with some extra, and then I went to a hardware store and I bought a very long metal rod to make it even longer. And I used duct tape, attached the long rod to my pole pruner long thing, and attached a hanger, which I bent into the shape of a hook at the end of the bar. So now I had my long pole. I could reach and pick up my strand, my string of lights, get to the top of the 40, 45-foot tree, and then go around and around and around and around. Because I watched YouTube, and that's how it goes. But it actually is that easy. It's not really that easy at all. Because, well, my pole was kind of, wibbly wobbly. So
oh, man. How
it wasn't
let that happen?
Because it wasn't really so straight, and it was a little bit heavy. It was quite hard to maneuver, frustratingly difficult to actually work, but it worked kind of good enough. And another problem was the building didn't have the ladder, which they promised me they would have. They promised me they would have a 30, 40-foot ladder to do the job, but they were having work done on the building, and the workers who were at the building had taken their ladder like 2 days before and hadn't returned it. So they were on the phone calling this company, we need that ladder now. We need it not on Friday, not on Tuesday. We need it now. So these guys are bringing it from some other part of the city, and they got the ladder to the job site. So now I had the ladder, I had my wobbly pole, I had my 2 helpers, and then we were actually making progress. And we were, it was kind of going pretty well. And especially we got many of the lights on with the pole around and around and around. That was okay. But the real doing of it was then getting on the ladder and then stringing them more artistically down the tree. Because just going around and around was, there were many holes in the tree. There weren't branches everywhere. So if you, but you had to, at nighttime, you'd have to have lights even in the emptiness, because otherwise it would just be, it wouldn't look good. So you had to find a way to fill in the emptiness with lights, even though there was nothing to hold on to. So there are all these little problems. And the worst problem of all was they had a star for the top of the tree, which was on top of a metal pole, which you plugged in, and then you sent the extension, the electrical cord, down the length of the tree. But I had to climb into the tree from the bottom of the tree up into this spruce tree. And 40, 45-year-old, 50-year-old spruce trees don't remove the dead branches that are inside of them. All the branches that are part of the tree stay with the tree until they leave the tree. So as you're trying to climb up inside of this tree, which at some point had been cut at the top, because now it had 3 leaders. It didn't just have like one main trunk. It actually then had 3. So now you're climbing in the middle of the 3 to get up to the top. And then it had all of these dead branches inside of it. So the space was extremely narrow. And I'm a small person anyway, but the first time I heard rip, one of my nice green shirts, I heard it go rip. And then it's like, okay, I know when you're dealing with roses, when you're dealing with thorns, when you're dealing, like, if you hear rip or pull, don't keep going. You have to stop, and you kind of have to find your way back out. Otherwise you'll just rip more. But it was such a tight spot. And I'm holding duct tape and scissors. And then of course we have masks because it's COVID time now. So it's really uncomfortable to be in this tree with all this. And I'm just so I basically have to just move because I can't just stay there. I can't get out because every time I move, I'm hitting some other thing. And I'm still all scratched up on my back and on my body. And finally got to the top of the tree, pushed the star up through the middle. And my helpers down below, I'm like, okay, is it straight now? I duct tape part of it, and I'm like, wibbly wobbly, trying to go, is it straight now? And like, one of the helpers was a woman, and she's like, I'm like, I can't hear you. It's louder. Like, I'm like in pain, and everything is pushing and poking and scratching me. And it's like, she's like, loud, you gotta say louder. So finally her voice got louder, and it was like, we got it up to the thing, and then we duct tape tied it to the right place, and it was good enough. And I came back down, and I was scratching myself more and more, and we got down, and then luckily, the sun goes down early now, and it's getting darker. So then we got to put the lights on and see what we were doing, because in the daytime you couldn't really see how good it was, right?
Exactly.
You need to see it at night, lit. Then right? Then Right. So it was getting that dark. We put the lights on. We got to see it. We got to make adjustments. And I sent a photo to the building manager at the end of the job. And the next day, she said that it had never been done so good. So we did a good enough. We did a good job.
She said that.
Yeah.
All right. So you're
and I went back.
Free artist after all, Sam.
I'm a something, or the standard was so low that I, just getting above getting above last year.
Yeah,
It's
well,
always the best way to be a worker is come into a job that the previous worker was really bad. Because then if you just do an average job, you're golden. You know, it's like it's